Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
Tonight on the show, we're going to show you Jacques Pepin's version of coq au vin. Coq au vin, which I'm sure I'm not saying correctly, translates roughly to old chicken in wine. And traditionally, this French dish, you would stew kind of like an older bird in wine for a long time because old birds typically have tough meat. When I say old bird, I mean literally an animal that was harvested for meat when it was very mature. So, you know, like the older a muscle's been around, the more it's like worked, you know, eventually it's gonna get tough. Jacques Pepin's version is almost modernized and it's definitely not traditional. Because of the readily available ingredients we have, you can use a similar preparation, but you can use a young chicken, and you don't have to cook the chicken for like 3 hours. You can just kind of simmer it in the sauce, and it'll still very delicious. There are many things in his version which are all intended to essentially cut out some of the calories, make this more of a light dish. So with that, we'll get started today. I have Vinny because he's being needy, but I will have to put him down so I can start cooking. Okay, so a couple items of prep. I've preheated the oven to 400 degrees. That would be one of the first steps. And tonight, first step will be to make a drink. So I made some sangria at the behest of my wife. Here it is, classic red sangria. And I like diluted drinks. And also sangria is kind of fun if you put some bubbles in it. You can add ice if you want, and I don't really care about munching on the fruit right now, so I'm not gonna do that. I have to be really careful about what I wear on the show, because there's a good chance I'm gonna wreck myself. It happens on the regular. Tutti frutti. Okay, I'm gonna make very simple mashed potatoes today as well. Here are some chopped potatoes. And we'll get those on to boil. His godmother, growing up, always used to put in a couple of cloves of garlic into the potatoes while they're boiling. And then you just kind of mash it up into the potatoes. So we'll do that today. These are kind of shitty ones, but that's fine. I put 2 cloves in there. And we'll put that on the boil. In addition, I'm also gonna make some asparagus so we have a vegetable to eat tonight. This is very skinny asparagus, and we will hit that with some olive oil. And of course, you can do whatever you want with your asparagus. We'll just do it very simple today. We have plenty of other flavors going on, but it is important to eat your vegetables. That's my advice. And we'll cook this when it's closer to us being done, but it will be nice to just have that ready to go. Okay, let's work on prepping our chicken. The kind of chicken that you use for this matters. So this is a whole fryer. In this case, a 4-pound chicken is probably the biggest chicken you should be using, which is not that big of a chicken. So just keep that in mind. I know it's tempting when you see like the big ass bird. It's like a 10-pound chicken. It's $1 a pound or whatever. Don't go for it. It's not worth it. Just get a real chicken if you can. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. First things first, we're gonna trim the wings. So we're gonna remove the wing tips, cut through and find the joint. I'm not like that good at this process, but that's fine. And then we will separate, essentially try to use the contour of the chicken's body to find these cut points. You'll see this wing bone separate here, and then you move through the joint. That's essentially how I always try to cut chicken pieces, is by feel. But of course, I'm not great at it. So you have like the thigh here, and then you use the weight of the bird to pull the leg away. And then there's like an oyster of meat. I'm not a professional at this. So I'm terrible at this, as you can see. My strategy is basically to brute force my way through, but there's obviously better ways you could be doing it. I will mention also that you can simply buy this already butchered, and that would be okay. Spent way more time on that than I expected to. Checking on our potatoes. There's no hurry to get these done, but these cooked very quickly. So we'll end up making our mashed potatoes a little bit early. That's fine. Not that big a deal. So we're gonna do 2 things at once. I know that's complicated, but we're gonna do it. So we're gonna heat up our Dutch oven. You can use a large pan. I'm using a Dutch oven today because I think that's the easiest thing for me. I'm also gonna have a skillet on the side. Tablespoon of olive oil over here, and one over here. And we'll get that heated up as well. Kind of a medium heat. And to this one, to our small pan, we're gonna add half a cup of water. Before it gets hot, what we're doing here is we are using water to kind of spread the cooking liquid around. And to this, the recipe calls for exactly 12 pearl onions. I am going to make an alteration, which is I am going to use more. Why? because there is a pack of pearl onions here. I peeled every single one of these motherfuckers, which is an incredibly tedious task. I took these to my computer, I put on some like geopolitical news, and then I just cried while I peeled these. So we'll go ahead and put those in there. Probably 24, my guess. And I'm also gonna make a change, which is I want to get some mushrooms in there sooner than later. Now, why am I doing that? Why am I doing that? I like mushrooms more cooked, and you can essentially cook mushrooms down almost interminably, and they just taste better and better to me. I'm just gonna throw them in at the beginning, and I think it'll be nice, because what we're doing on the side here is we are glazing, kind of caramelizing and glazing the pearl onions. Pop those bad boys in. I'm gonna go ahead and add some salt too, which will help draw out some of the liquid from the mushrooms. And we'll have to keep an eye on what's going on with these. Keep an eye on them. But essentially we're trying to cook them down, and the sugar helps to caramelize some of the onions. And we'll pop a lid on there. Should be good to go. So I had the oil heating up in our Dutch oven. We're gonna put just the wings in first. The wings, although being one of the smaller pieces of meat that we're gonna cook today, are gonna render chicken fat. And you can go ahead and salt them if you want. But basically we're gonna start the process of rendering chicken fat, and then we'll cook the rest of the chicken in it as well. So a couple minutes on that, and while we're waiting, we'll finish our mashed potatoes, which are certainly ready to go. So here's our potatoes. They're fully cooked. I'm doing a lazy drain. Again, I'm making extremely simple mashed potatoes today. We'll add a couple tablespoons of butter. No milk or cream for us today. We're gonna dump the chicken and the juice and stuff on top. So it's like, you're gonna get all the richness you need. We'll add some salt and a little bit of white pepper, I think. I think white pepper tastes nice in mashed potatoes. So just a little bit. And we'll just mash those up. And maybe we'll add a little cream. It's hard to resist. Boom, very simple potatoes. They look nice. We'll just leave those on the back stove. Hope they keep warm. And then we'll probably need to flip our chicken. I'm kind of keeping the chicken on this side where the oil is accumulating. Actually, let's go ahead and put our dark meat in. So we'll find our dark meat. We'll lay it down, and all that should be left is the white meat. Put a salt on that, a little bit of salt on here, and basically we just want to brown each side. So I'm going to do a couple more things, also in the name of prep. So here I have half an onion of indeterminable age. We're just going to do a regular mince. There's our onion. And then we will do some garlic as well. Smash and mince this. You want the equivalent of about 3 cloves, and you know, just mince it to your preference. Check our chicken. Time for flipping. Yeah, that looks good. Just let it keep going. Another thing we can do is open a bottle of wine. So we're cooking with wine. Very, very important to taste your wine for poison. You never know what enemies you have or do not have, and the methods they may be using to dispose of you. So, try your wine. You never know what enemies you have or do not have, and the methods they may be using to dispose of you. So this is a Petite Syrah by Beaujolais. You want a Syrah or something kind of fruity but dry. This is the ideal choice. Yeah, that's what we like to see. Pretty nice looking, actually. We'll get our chicken breast pieces in there as well. Okay, we will need 1.5 cups of wine that has not been poisoned. Check out this pan. You can see through the lid, almost all that liquid has evaporated. And we're starting to get some epic caramelization. So periodically, we will mix these up, mix them around. I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit, and we'll just keep letting those caramelize. Now, I'll tell you right now, that's gonna taste really good. All right, we need to make croutons. I think we're gonna make a couple different kinds of croutons, because I got a couple different kinds of bread. This is totally for flair. It's for fun. You don't gotta do this. Now, I don't even have the right kind of bread to do this, but I will show you. We'll show you it. We did a whole video on croutons, which you can view here. And this is different from that. So that's why we're gonna show you it. So in the time that this recipe was written, bread was square. I don't have square bread, but that's okay. I can make square bread by doing that. You then chop the bread into triangles, and then you remove the crust. You kind of cut a diamond like so, and then for the ultimate schmooze, you make a heart shape. like so. So there are 2 heart-shaped croutons. I'm just gonna make some random croutons with the other ones. I also am gonna make random-ass other croutons. Random-ass other ones. So this is the end of a piece of bread that Kevin made. This is Kevin bread. And I think that that will be plenty. All right, I think our chicken needs flipping. Yep. So we're not getting as much browning on the chicken breast. That's okay. You know, we are overcrowding things at this point. It looks good. Looks good. Looks good. So Jacques talks about how they used to make croutons by just frying them in a pan. And of course, that is not healthy, right? It's not healthy. But his way of making it healthy is you put oil onto the cookie sheet and you push the croutons into them, which I think is kind of interesting. So you take your heart-shaped croutons, you kind of do that, and then flip it over, and bada boom, bada bing, you got a crouton. I'm not that worried about this in general. I'm just not. What the hell, let's introduce another bread. It's not stale, but that's fine. I'm not that worried about it, so, you know, I'll resort to my method. I'll just, you know, drizzle, and it should be fine. If you want to spread things out, you can spread it with a brush. Bada boom, bada bing, boom, bing, bong. A little bit of salt. You can add garlic if you want, but remember we're adding garlic at literally to everything else, I think. And those could go in for about 8 minutes to start. It might take 10 minutes. Okay, next step will be to remove this chicken from the pot. So we'll take our chicken pieces and transfer them to a plate. Look at all that chicken fat in there, which of course is delicious. From here, we'll go ahead and add these chopped onions and garlic. You should separate the garlic and add it last so it doesn't burn. I'm too lazy for that today, but I think we'll be just fine. And of course, onions are incredible in that they'll just soak up all that fat and become delicious. Saute 1 minute, so not very long at all. Okay, so it's been 1 minute, so we're gonna add a bay leaf. This is my extra strength bay leaf, so only 1. You could add 2 if you have a dry. And then a ½ teaspoon of thyme. If you have fresh thyme, go ahead and use it. Then we're gonna add our wine. Oh boy, oh boy. This would be the opportunity to deglaze. You can scrape the bottom of the pan to get any kind of chicken goodness off of there. And we'll bring that to a simmer. We'll add some salt and some pepper, plenty of pepper. The first things we're gonna add back are the wings. So we're gonna tuck the chicken into a simmering sauce. I like the dark meat to be pretty well done. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add the dark meat back now as well. You can see I've got everything tucked in there, and we will let that simmer for about 5 minutes. Then we'll add the rest of the meat and let that simmer. We can put our asparagus in now, and we can check on our crouton. My immediate impression is that the croutons look pretty good, particularly the heart-shaped ones. I think we're good. A break. Take it easy. So my croutons of various sizes are done. These will be our show pieces over here. Some of them are more done than others. So we'll just set that to the side until we need them. Around 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and add our other chicken. So these are our light meats. I hate to say it because it's not particularly appetizing, but if you were trying to make something and call it grape flavored chicken, it would probably look like this. Oh my god, it's grape flavored chicken by Kool-Aid. And don't forget, if you got chicken juice, put that back in there. For sure. So we need to simmer all of the rest of this for about 6 minutes. And I'll probably flip the chicken halfway. Home stretch, almost done. Pretty excited. All right, it's time for this to all come together. Amazing. So here I have a serving platter, and what I'm going to do is try to separate the meats out into different types. I have my wings, my wingdings over here. I'm gonna have my dark meat over here. Being very careful not to splatter myself. It's chicken so pipe! And my light meat in this third quadrant. Thirdrant? What is it, a trident? I don't know what the answer is. It's important to also remember, you can always temp check the chicken if you're concerned about, is it fully cooked? Is it not fully cooked? I think that my light meat is probably a little bit underdone, but remember that the residual heat will carry it
onto the floor.
Onto the floor. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is thicken the sauce. And JP recommends using a natural starch, which is potato starch or arrowroot. So this is arrowroot today. And you can actually mix it into the wine, right? So you're making a slurry, and then don't add it all at once. You add a little bit, and then you mix it into the sauce. You add a little bit more. It will kind of thicken up almost immediately. And then you'll have a pretty good idea of what you need. I think we could just add all of it. I think it's fine. That looks good. I mean, it looks awful also. It also looks awful, but it looks like how it's supposed to. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the heat there. Now, let's finish this dish. So I cut the heat on these a while ago, but they're good to go. And these on our serving platter will literally just go right over the top, like so, making sure that you get them on the plate. Please. They'll smell amazing. And then, if you were not using a Dutch oven, this would be much easier, but you essentially just pour this sauce, which I will admit, I might have overthickened, but I don't care because I know it'll be delicious. Over the whole damn thing. And man, doesn't that look appetizing. It looks like a pile of garbage, to be honest, but I'm not concerned about it because we can gussy it up. So what do you do with your crouton? Literally, you're supposed to dip it in the sauce, like so, then in some parsley, and then you have a little garnish of crouton. Yep, this is helping, isn't it? It's really helping. And then of course we'll finish with some fresh parsley on top. And that's it. It looks bad. I did just taste a little bit of chicken and it tastes great. This one, even when you're like a professional, doesn't look that great, in my opinion. Here are our mashed potatoes. Hell yeah. Some asparagus. And I will actually plate the chicken on top of the asparagus. Doesn't that look just a little bit better? Include a crouton. It looks a hell of a lot better. Why? Because we covered up that weird looking meat. So here's our final plated version. Okay, so it's time to eat. That chicken's like cooked perfectly. It's so good. I would say that we could use a little bit more sauce. Just a little bit more sauce. But it's delicious. So it tastes like something that has been, you know, well prepared. It's not like braised, it's not falling apart. It tastes kind of fresh, but it doesn't taste unhealthy. And there are many, many dishes in this kind of genre of cooking where you're like, there's so much fat, you'll be like, oh. And you may want that. But this version is very, very light. That crouton is fun, but you could totally skip that, honestly. I mean, yeah, that's how you do it. I never tried my potatoes. I wonder if they're any good. Yeah, they're good. We should definitely try an onion, which is fantastic. That melts in your mouth. I thought that came out really nice. I can't wait to eat this for dinner. I hope you enjoyed this episode. That's how you do it. Happy cooking, and we'll see you next time. Any final thoughts, boys? Whew. Okay, bye.